This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion as we set up an August long weekend that should be fairly quiet for our Edmonton Oilers outside of potentially signing Evan Bouchard, but that, of course, remains to be seen what happens come Monday because it's the long weekend, right? You don't really expect much from the Oilers in the middle of the summer. Obviously, Canada Day is a little bit different, but this weekend I would assume it's going to be very quiet. And we'll start Tuesday, Wednesday off with the Evan Bouchard news. But of course, what we do have news on is kind of the ramifications of Jeff Jackson's hiring as Edmonton Oilers CEO of hockey operations and how that affects the PTO field in which the Oilers may be pulling from. So we'll talk about that in a matter of moments, friends. But before we get there, if you are new to the channel or returning, this ad is now for you. I'm just asking quickly for you to consider hitting that subscribe button. We're less than a month away from the NHL season unofficially kicking off with rookie camp. I'd love to have you aboard for all things Edmonton Oilers when we have news every day, multiple times a day. And if you're returning as a subscriber and haven't clicked the bell yet, consider doing as such, because for those of you that have been subscribed for a while, you know the big ticket item here on Dolynny TV is the live streams, and I would love to start off hot with the live streams this year and really have a good run all the way into the playoffs. Some record-shattering stuff next year would be awesome. Anyway, that's enough about me. Okay, what do we know? What do we know? Well, let's go over here. These are names that you may have already heard simply because, well, for me to explain this to you, I believe Patrick from the Oilers Fanatic had it in his video the other day. This is me catching up on a tiny bit of business I was supposed to do yesterday. So unfortunately, I'm a day behind really where I was supposed to be with this, but that's fine. We'll battle through and we will survive for right now. Let me see if I can just turn this up a little bit there. And yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on with audio levels. I know a couple of you have mentioned that over the past little bit, so I'm going to just try and bump this up right now that I'm seeing it a little bit. And let's go here and see what we can't do. There we go. Sorry, my apologies. Doing everything on the fly as normal. Sam Gagner, Tyler Mott. You've already had time to familiarize yourself with this graphic. 48 games played for Sam Gagner last year. Dealt with injuries, I do believe. 8 goals, 6 assists, and a 10.3 shooting percentage. Of course, a guy who, well, he's been around the Oilers organization a long time, multiple times over. And I think it's just that natural point of the offseason where Sam Gagner is available. The Oilers have a role for a guy like him, and it becomes a question mark as to if the Oilers will offer him a PTO to come into camp and just kind of push some of our younger guys along, or else take that 12th forward spot and become an integral part of the Oilers' kind of depth, right? If the Oilers run 11-7, you don't see Sam Gagner in that Oilers lineup. I guarantee you that, unless there's injuries. But if you run 12-6, you probably have a spot for Sam Gagner to play 8 minutes a night like Klim Kostin was. Obviously, two totally different players, but the ice time is there to be allocated. So that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. And for Sam Gagner, too, yes, he's slowed down considerably year after year after year, but a guy that is just a perfect pro, absolutely perfect for a team like the Oilers to go on a cup run with. If you don't like what he's bringing at the trade deadline, you trade him off for an asset to a team that just needs somebody around to lead the young kids that's rebuilding for the rest of the year. Whatever the case might be, you can get something for him at the deadline at a league minimum $775 deal if you do sign him out of camp on the PTO, if you can make the money work when all is said and done. That's, again, these two guys, if the Oilers have either at camp, are going to have to be able to make the money work if they want to sign him. And that's kind of Ken Holland's MO, is at least sign one of his PTOs to a deal every time. So Tyler Mott, what we know about him is he's from the New York Rangers this past year. 62 games played, 8 goals, 11 assists. You see the shooting percentages for both players. I'm just doing that to kind of compare the seasons they had despite the games played being a little bit different, I guess you could say. So where Tyler Mott really didn't have it last year is the shooting percentage was down. it was a tough go for him. But I'm just going to pull up some stats here for you and get you a little more familiar with Tyler Mott, who's been in Vancouver, Ottawa, and New York over the past little bit. He's a 5'10", 192 left-hand shot, a guy who career-wise has been just that guy that kind of fills out rosters for every team. He's never played a full 82 games in a season, unfortunately for him. Obviously, too, a guy that last year was a career year. Quite honestly, last year was a career year for Tyler Mott, putting up 19 points. And you look at it here too, 15 the year previous in Vancouver, and 0 in New York that year though. So a guy who chips in literally anywhere between 10 to 20 points a year at best, kind of deal. And yeah, you know what, a guy too that only plays 12.52 a night. So keep that in mind for a 28-year-old Tyler Mott. A nice easy camp PTO selection because he is a free agent of the Wasserman group that Jeff Jackson came from. So again, the old wheels start turning here this time of year, and that's where I'm just kind of leading into that. Is that yeah, Tyler Mott's a guy that might get a look just based on who he knows in the Edmonton Oilers organization. So keep that in mind for now. The Oilers have a couple of guys on the radar, I'm sure, but Sam Gagner and Tyler Mott are a couple of guys I would be keeping eyes on just because of kind of the ties to the Oilers organization. I believe it was Patrick who mentioned to me over text the other day that Sam Gagner was Jeff Jackson's first player. So that's another thing if we want to go there and mention there. So keep that in mind. And obviously, Sam Gagner coming off injury, that's maybe where the Oilers stay clear and don't go his way. But with a 10.3 shooting percentage last year and 48 games played, if you're going to play him for 15 to 26 games in a regular season, I wouldn't mind a guy shooting 10 and a half to just get us a few goals and obviously do a couple of things in the bottom six in terms of leading and veteran presence. So friends, thank you so much for being aboard today. Obviously, we know that Evan Bouchard is priority, so keep that in mind for right now. Evan Bouchard's number one. All of this is just fancy talk right now, dreamer, hoper talk really, until the Oilers decide what to do with Evan Bouchard. It's been reported 2 years, 3.9. I gave you my thoughts in the last video there saying I think it's going to be some odd number just to give us a best case scenario in case of an LTIR claim some way through the season for one of our bigger contracts. So keep that in mind for now, friends. But as we get going, we are, like I said, less than a month away from hockey season getting underway. Those captain skates were scheduled for September 1st, September 2nd by the looks of what Dylan Holloway said in his interview the other day. So yeah, we're getting very close to everything kicking off here for the Edmonton Oilers. So I will catch you. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV, up on out of here.